So we'll start. So what is this about? This is just about how you make your first pull request here. That's one reason you don't see my name here is because I didn't make this presentation. It was made by people that actually did it. So thank you for doing it. They cannot put the name here, so it's not there. But it's just know that I'm not the one doing this presentation. I'm just impersonating other people and just getting all the rewards and all the name of their job. That's really nice. So thank you very much. This is from Zero to Merge. I'm trying to talk a little on how beautiful it is to go into a community like ManageIQ and make your first pull request and then get some people review it and get into the code and what we learn there. So I don't have a slide saying I've been here all the time. And just let's say that I work in chargeback for 10 years or more. And then I got into these projects, and I started to do that. I never developed in my life. I've been doing, product director for many years and in R&D, but I didn't develop. I have a product manager. So I've learned everything while doing this. So that's made things funnier when you don't even know what you need to do. And then you learn, and then you learn you didn't learn it properly, and you do it again. But I think it's going to be good for you to hear for that. So, agenda, your first day, that's beautiful. You get there into a team, what you're gonna find. Drew, I know you will feel related to this. How we develop, what we have there and why we have it there. I also think it's important because we need data and that's not so easy to get. We did a couple of pull requests. We have one of them with 70 comments, 70. 3 months, 70 comments. I will talk about that. Yeah. There's people still crying at night because of that.
It just got merged.
Yeah, it got merged. It got merged. And then, yeah, and we are fixing it yet. So we have some tests, how we do tests. We will talk a little about migrations, because that's things about migration and Ruby and Rails. That's good to know that. And the other thing is, there's people there, so you can really ask things, and they answer. It's great. So yeah, we will talk about that. So first day on the job. ManageIQ is coming. So it's like you have a list of things to do. What you need to learn? Ruby, I know that. Yeah, that's a language. Then you have Rails. I think that's also a framework or something like that. Yeah, that's good on Ruby. What is a gem? You go there, and then you go, there's something called HAML. It's something that's very fun. It's like something you can do in another way, but it's just reduce the number of things you do. So you need to learn HAML too. Then you need to know GitHub. You need to do testing, so you need to do RSpec. Then there's some things to make things work, like Robocop, so you see the code. But just basically, the list of things you need to learn is like, I'm doing a new career in the next month. I need to learn so many things. Everything is so complicated. And I don't know if you know, but when you talk to people and you talk, I'm going to be developing in Rails, they just look on Rails? I like Go and things that's beautiful, but Rails? Yes, it works. And actually, it's a good language, and you learn to love it. It's like that kid you have, and then you love it. And it's actually the best kid you have. So it's diversion. So that's good. And if you have been here for 2 days, so you know what I'm talking about. There's one thing is like RBAC. There's a lot of things in the architecture that you really need help. So we went through an architecture revision. We have, in fact, a couple of them. Greg helped us a lot because we were for 3 weeks trying to put something in the interface, and it wasn't working, and we didn't know why. and it doesn't work. And we were trying everything, and it was like, we're doing everything right. It's not there. And then in like 5 seconds, they say, well, you need to go to this YAML file and put one line here. And that was like, oh, 3 weeks wasted because a YAML file, what is YAML? Oh, YAML. I didn't put YAML there. Yeah, but that's Rails anyway. So that's there. And then there's a lot of information in Trello, ManageIQ. Well, we've been doing this for a year, and we still find new things in Trello and ManageIQ sometimes. So there's a list of people working on this community in ManageIQ.org. It's like 3 years old. There's people there that I think they left the country, but they're still in the list. So you can see what was the status 2 years ago. That's good. The good thing is there's a lot of people here that has been for 10, 12 years in the company. So they are still in that list, and you can see them with younger faces. They are there. So the first thing is I love Ruby. Ruby is nice, but nobody knows it. So, well, we were recommending, and I think it's very good to do that couple of books, Ruby on Rails tutorial, 3rd edition. Now it's going to be a 4th. That's a major thing you have to do. But the good thing is you finish that and you say, yes, I know Rails. No, you don't know Rails. You know nothing, you don't know. So you go to that one. And that one is actually a little more into details, why you do things in that way. And then you learn that it's not crazy things, it's really working. Yeah? So you do things because they make sense. You just need to study for 2 months to know why. It does make sense. But that's really working. And really, it's a very, very, very nice language. So, but yes, if you're coming new to this is the way you go. It's only 2,000 pages to read. That's not so bad. Could be worse. So the next thing to do is I need the minimum thing. We're doing chargeback, so we need data there. Yeah, that thing that OBIRD didn't support 2 endpoints, one for the CNU and another for the manager. We've been without data for 2 months because of that. So it's not so obvious. So the first thing, there's a developer things there, and they're also improving. In the last weeks, we've seen a lot of new things going there. So you have to go learn about Ruby, learn about Bundler, learn about gems. You need to go to Git, how you work with Git, with GitHub. And there's some information that is very good, and I think is that you know that now with ManageIQ out of the box, there's a lot of gigabytes of memory in that virtual machine you're running. So if you can learn to do Rails only, there's minimum workers. So you can actually run only those things that you really need for development. So it's worth working on that. And well, if you have 36 hours days, then don't worry about that. But if you want to make things run, then this is important and it's there. And it's the other thing, if you've been in Jitter lately, they change the way, or we change the way you do updates in the system. So you will find a lot of people asking, I've done an update and nothing is working, because you just need to run a command in the line so everything is working again. So it's good that you go and look at that. You have the guides there. So they are quite interesting. And as you see, there's a README document that you can use. And of course, if you can improve it, please do it, because that's the way to go. So what do we have? The minimum you will need is some kind of virtual environment, or anything you need to run the appliance. So you need ref list, or you need OpenShift. You need something to manage, because you need to see data there, actual relationship, actual things to manage. What we do is that we basically have a ManageIQ on top of a ref. So we have a reference architecture, the last version of ManageIQ. So anytime we break something, we can go back to that reference appliance and see that we did something wrong. but it's still working on the last version of Darga or whatever is there. So that's important to have. Yeah, because that's, I told you, sometimes you think things doesn't work, and you forgot to do something. So that's good. We also have a satellite, configuration management and content distribution, just because we want to make things working. So we want to make it like professionally, and then we have data of that part of the environment. We have an identity management, IDM, part of CentOS, part of RHEL. So we have that there. So we have single sign-on. We know what is going, and then we can test things like tenants, LDAP, and all of that. We have also an OpenShift, and the OpenShift people were very, very, very kind to us, and they gave us a script to create data into the database. So we've been using their data for those 2 months that we couldn't. The OpenShift people really, really rock, and thank you very much, because we were crying on nights, very sad. And they come to us and they rescue us, so that's very, very good. And that recently we put there an Ansible tower, because it's cool. We like Ansible. It's easy, everybody like it, we love it. So we put it there, but it's not configured, but it's there. It's good. So the first thing, it's GitHub. We try everything there. We decided to, well, at the end you need to do a fork. So we did a fork, but then we need to move it to another thing. So we tried GitLab, we tried several things. Nothing worked. Yeah, it didn't work. It was so complex that at the end, the developers were just going directly into GitHub, and it was very, very, very complicated. So we decided to do it in GitHub. So what we have now is that we are using a fork. We have a group, ManageIQ Consumption is called in GitHub. So all the developers are part of that group. And what we do is, instead of doing pull request directory, we have a 2-phase approach. So the first step we do is to tag the pull request like work in progress. And then we put work in progress as the name of the pull request. So just to make sure we are working upstream, we want people to know we are doing that. We just want to make sure nobody wastes any minute reviewing that. And that's what we've been doing so far. We started last week to do another thing on top of that, that is assigning that pull request to me. I'm not a developer, so I know I'm not going to review it. But then we know that as it's assigned to me, nobody in the MIQ group will review that. So we are doing both things. And that's good because we started with our code review, so the developers directly push into the pull request, and there was not other people in the group doing the review of the code before we did that. And well, I told you about the 70 go and forth in the first pull request. We want to avoid that. We want to avoid making that mistake again. So now the rule we have, and it's a soft rule, is that whatever you do a pull request and you want to get this work in progress, or you want to assign that to Oleg or anyone in his team, there has to be the okay for other people in the team. I know there's better solutions. If you have another environment, you could do that. That's what we try. We try to do GitLab, we try to do that, but the problem is if you try to do that with a branch to do the pull request, it's very complicated, at least for me, that I don't know how to do it, to get a pull request, a branch in an external system that create a branch in GitHub that is created a pull request on that branch, and making all work. So when I modify something here, it will go to here, and then the pull request will be updated. It's so complicated that just basically couldn't cope with that. If you have any other idea, that will be great to know. But just say, this is the way we have found that it's like soft rules, but at least it allows us to make sure that we waste as little time as we can from the people that really, really want to do that. And the other thing is, if the repository is not yours, you cannot do those things. because that is not your repository, so you cannot modify it. And that's why MIQ bot is there. So you just go and ask MIQ to do things for you, and he will do. Just say MIQ add label, and he will add a label. MIQ assign, MIQ bot assign, and it will assign it to somebody. So it's basically the way we do all of things without having to go to Jitter and ask somebody to do on our behalf. So that's also something you need to know. It's not working. So I will use the other. No, it's not. It's completely. What happened there? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. So the other thing, code review. We use Gerrit. Gerrit is. What happened? Yeah, we try to do Gerrit because over people use Gerrit. Basically, I sit down in the office nearby. Juan has done the Obert, and if he does that, that's what I want to do. I want to be like him. So I tried that, but it's so ugly. It's like it's really hard. It's really hard. It's just you look at that and the interface is ugly and the way it behaves is ugly. So we tried that for a week. Nobody was using that, and well, basically we couldn't make it into our workflow. So we forget about that, and we decided to use the GitHub code review. That is the same that other people are going to be using. So it should be okay to be using that. I think Gerrit is better. It has more options. It allows you to see code in a better way, and you can do more things with that. But that interface, oh my gosh. Yeah, somebody should be killed for doing that. Couple of times, not only one. So Yas decided to go with that, and that's what we do. And then again, this is not, okay. There's another thing, I don't know if you know, but Travis, travisci.org, if you have a GitHub open source public repository, you can use it for free. And we are cheap. We don't spend money. So we try to do everything for free. So one of the things is that this is the same thing that when it's going to happen when you do the pull request. So you see those two things there, Rubocop and Travis. You can do that in your account before you do the pull request. And as I was saying, if you have the work in progress and all of that, so before you do the pull request, you just put the branch into GitHub, and this process will happen. And the nice thing of this is that the Travis YAML file that it says how to do the review is exactly the same one that is going to happen after you do the pull request. So you just basically do a lot of pull requests until this is fully green, and you can see that. From time to time, I have to say too, this one here, the first one, the VMDB, fails, and nobody knows why. And they fix it. And they take like 2, 3, 4 days, and they fix it, but meanwhile, everything is red, but your code is not red. You don't know why. Just look at that. You can actually click on that numbers there, and it will show you all the log of Travis. It will show you which tests were failing, and you will find somebody merge a pull request that they should not. Bad boy. Bad boy. And then you're there waiting. You can close it and open it again, and Travis will run again. So that's what they say. You will see Oleg from time to time closing a pull request and open it again. Is that for Travis to run? You can do the same. But this is just to make sure that we are not wasting time of anybody. And I know there's a lot of pull requests every week, so we just want to make sure that, we are the best coders, but we make mistakes. We are human, almost. Okay, so we do that, you review that, you have that. As you see, we have done ManageIQ doc that is not working just because there's no Travis file, but it's there. Another thing is not only coding, it's also knowing what you are coding. So we are using Taiga. Taiga is an open source project, and that's my face all the time, because I do a lot of change. But that's management. Taiga is a place open source that will basically is a Scrum board. So you have a backlog, you have issues, you have you have different issues, you have different elements, you have attributes, you have a team of people that have allowed to see different things there, and that basically, if you look at that, you will see all the Scrum. So you will see the speed you are developing, you will see what is left. So I know it's not really complicated, it's not doing everything you should know, but it's for having a few developers working together, it just makes you sure you can tell somebody we are going to finish in 3 weeks, and you're not lying to them, you're just mistaken. So that's what we use, that's what we develop. So what happens when you go and do a pull request, and then you find those funny people reviewing your code? Just to make sure, we are these ones. Yeah, is that we are not the other ones, we are these ones. And then you go there, and this it's complicated to get a pull request. So we were basically asking, how do we do this? Because we try, it doesn't work, we talk, it doesn't work, we change, it doesn't work. And then even the first pull request, we even needed a re-engineering. Somebody in the team, thank you, Greg, I'm not saying your name. They came and reviewed all the code. They have to re-engineer it because we didn't know how to do things. We were learning Rails and Ruby and Haml and all of that. And that's the point. So one thing I find that in many places is that this is GitHub, so we do work open source. So one of the things you need to understand is that all the pull requests are done on branches. So you just basically, the development goes one way, and you do a branch of the main development code. You work on that branch that is slightly divergent from the main path, and then you try to pull that merge that into the code. So you will be basically going through that, and then you will start developing things, and then you merge that into the code, and they will be stable. So when we're talking about backporting, and you have seen that a lot in the last month about backporting to Darga, that's basically because when there's a release, the code is going to be there, stable, it's not going to change, so just basically get these pieces of code and you put back into that version. So you always have the development trunk, and then you have the older version are stable, so what you do is backport your changes to that. But so that's one thing there. So you are doing this, there's another 400 people doing the same. So basically when you do that, somebody has pushed their code, and then it doesn't work. And it never works. I don't know why. Whatever you do, you change something that is nothing to do with the language, and it doesn't work. There's a magic thing there, it's called rebase. So you just go on rebase, and you push it again, and you rebase again, you push it again, and you know how it goes, 70 times. 70 times. Yeah. And at the end, somebody will like it or will pity you, and they merge it into the code. So yes, you do it again. And you start again. And now we have like 6, 7, 8, 9 branches running because we are doing different things. But just make sure that you do that rebase, because if you don't do that, everything will be green. And no way, you won't get it merged because you didn't do it properly. So size matters. And that's also something interesting. I come from telco R&D, where you basically put 27 person in a room, and you work for 1 year to define what you're going to be doing, and then you spend another 2 years doing it, and then you have the result. And I've know people that are trying to do the same in the community. That's not going to work. So basically, that's not going to work. So you can decide. You can do the complete functionality. So the big, awesome pull request that create a new charback, fix the world, and praise God at the same time. So everything's solved. Your life is wonderful. Thank you. That's one way of doing that. Very lengthy, but you can do that. The other is to say, well, let's put all together a big chunk of functionality and then merge it. So that's, for me, that was like the logical thing to do. Just put that, everything together. So there's one person review it, and it goes, and it works, because it's independent. There's no dependencies. That's independent. I think that's independent definition. The other thing is something that works, whatever. I change the color to blue, so it works. Pull request. And the last thing will be anything. I put anything there. And my first impression will be that 2 is great. And then 1 will be awesome. Complicated, but awesome. And then 3 and 4, okay. The reality is that the only one that works is 4. You go there and you put as the minimum amount of code that you can into that. Why? Because if you think of that, there's going to be at least 4 or 5 people reviewing your code. They will review the functionality you're doing, but somebody will review it because it's modifying the controller. And another person will review it because it's modifying the UI. And another person will review it because it's modifying JavaScript. And another person will review it because it's modifying another part of the tool, or the RBAC, or the tenancy, or whatever. So you want to make sure that your pull request is going to be reviewed as little time as possible, because it's going to be easier if only one person reviews your code. So how do you do this? You put a small pull request, as small as you can. Of course, just finish the line at least. But finish the line. Yeah, that's the message. Finish the line. And once you've done that, you refer to another. So you say, we have this pull request that is dependent on this pull request, and this pull request, and this pull request. Please, when all of them are reviewed, put them together. And then you rebase, and they will actually merge it. But that's the way you make people's life easy. So they don't need to go, because we had like the first pull request, that's 72, 69, 67, I don't know how much, a lot. It was 1,200 lines of code. Great. Why? Because it was a complete, independent functionality. So we thought independent is good. Let's do that. 1,200 lines, 3 months. Every time we did a rebase, something broke. We have to change things. We had a comment. We need to change another thing. And all those people I was talking about will review again the pull request. And if I don't know why they didn't kill us. Because I think in 1,200 lines of code multiplied by 70 reviews, that's 100,000 lines of code review. Wow, thank you. I owe you a beer, you know. Yeah, we're having some, I'm sure. But just make sure you do that. And then you split it. If we had to split it in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pull requests, that's 1 of them, 2 of them, 9 of them who got been reviewed once. And then 1 pull request will have 70 comments with 200 lines. So everybody will be happy, and instead of 3 months, it will have been 1 or 2 months instead of. Let's be realistic. So thing you need to think, does it have tests? Many tests. And I will talk about tests after, but tests are good. Tests are, Libor, are you here? Tests are good. He's the one asking, I need more tests. We need more tests. It's good code, really good code. Are you using, we use it end as a name of a variable. It's not nice to use a restricted word for a variable. Yeah, I know. We know now. Yeah, it was stupid. I know. It's tiers start, tier end. So we use end. Yeah, that's, yeah. Tears come on my face when I realize. Are the commitment making a logical sequence? So when somebody review that and see the commitments and see the code, will understand what you're really doing? So you don't go to the end and then to the beginning and then, because that's good for movies, but yeah, not for commits. We want commits to be that. Git has a lot of things to do, change the history of a pull request, so I encourage you to do that. Okay, so we have a small pull request with a lot of tests. All together, make it clean, it's working. So let's talk about test. What do you see there? Yeah, I think it's Oleg doing something. This is the Rocher test. Yeah, it's 1922 is this picture. But let's go to tests. So the same thing, RSpec. RSpec is like a complex thing to use. At least for me, I don't know how to use it. I'm happy there's developers there. Because for me, it's like magic. I still don't understand. I've written like 100 RSpecs tests, and I still don't know how it works. But you actually get and you like it, and it's good. And one of the things it's important, I will tell that. And the other thing is Robocop. Robocop is a gem, a Ruby gem, and Robocop is nice because it will tell you your code is shitty. Use a rocket. There's 2 spaces more than it should. Yeah, I don't know what is Robocop, because it should be Grandma Cop. I don't like the way you put your, yeah, I'm not, well, I wear, yeah. Okay, I should wear a tie. Yeah. I'm better with a tie. Okay, so you need to learn them. And now we have new people into the team, and they are doing RSpec. That's the first thing they're doing Ruby and Rails, and then they're doing RSpec, because they really need to master that. And that's nice stories about that. Because the first day, there's a new merge in the code. Somebody commit the day before. And I told you about Travis going red. That happened 2 weeks before the end of the last sprint. Somebody did that, and he went on holiday or something for 3 days. So we're all like waiting. What? So the second day you go there and say, I didn't do anything. I didn't change anything. It was working. What is going there? And you find that. Broken code everywhere. It's Bela Lugosi too, 1920-something too. So what happened to us? Somebody make a commit in code we have already merged. And that commit broke our code, but didn't break the tests. That was cool, because you are not the one developing. It was another team of people that wanted to change something in the interface, so they made a pull request, and it was merged, and the tests were working, so there was no reason not to merge it. So I got a call for QA, and we are doing chargeback. And they were saying, okay, can we go through the code, and can you make me a demo of what you're doing? Because I don't understand that. Okay, no problem. I'm an expert on chargeback. I have a developer t-shirt. So I can do it. So we went to QA. And she's a fine lady and very thorough. And so she went to the first use case. And it was like, this is 2. You multiply it by 5. And here you have 23. Sorry? 2? That doesn't make any sense. So he made 3 use cases. For an hour, he was showing me use cases that should work because the tests were okay, were green, everything was nice. I apologize for 1 hour. I don't know what happened. I'm so sorry. We should have done it. I don't know what to say. Everything was broken because the tests were passing, but we were using the wrong function in the test. So the tests were just giving a number and testing that the number we gave was the number we gave. They were passing, of course, all the time. Whatever you did, the test will pass. And when those other people change the code, the test will pass. So it's not because you are not coding beautifully, because we know you don't make mistakes, and we know this is going to be wonderful, and your code is beautiful, and sun is shining, and life is beautiful. But some bastard will come and change your code. And then you have to be able to point at him and say, no. I have a test for that. So it doesn't work for you. And then we're now, because we're developers are moving, so we will lose some of the developers, and the new developers will try to do that, and the expectation is those tests will tell them, you're doing it wrong. Before I have to have a call from somebody complaining because this is not working. Untested code is broken code. I don't know who Martin Aspelli is or Feeling Bot Whitehair, but it has been, with that surname, must be an important person. Well, I didn't even know how to say that. Von, I can say the Von, but yeah, whatever. The other thing, migrations. All the thing we learn, this is really the real migration in the world, but you need to migrate the model. So you have to do a migration there, and you need to test the model. And all the books we are talking before, they were talking about migration like this. You test the migration. That's nice. Until you have a running appliance for 2 years, and you have 10 gigabytes of data in your database. So one of the things we forgot to do in those 70 comments of the pull request is to migrate the data. We migrated the model. We didn't migrate the data. So yeah, don't forget to migrate the data, please. And if you migrate the data, then you need to test the migration of the data. That's cool. And it's possible that you make a mistake and you want to go back. So you need to test that thing that you're doing if you're going it back, because it will fail. You will want to go back. You need to test it. And then I talk about backporting. We don't do backporting. Well, yes, we do backporting to Darga, for instance. So if you do it, prepare for testing that, because if not, you will have to do it in like an issue, and you will have to fix it. So this is the bad thing. So what happens if you don't know how to go on? And that's where you call the Ghostbuster. And yeah, there's a new film of that. So, but this is the old logo. This is the old logo, not the new one. I found it there. Creative Commons. Who you gonna call? Never give up. There's always a way to fix things. Even when you think there's no way to do things, there's some way you're going to make it happen. It will be over. Because you are not alone. We are a community of the ring. Yeah. I must be one of the small ones. I don't know which one. Big fit. So let's go to talkmanageIQ.org, exposure problem. That's for customers, but if you want to use it, that's the way to go. And you have, well, we were talking about that. You can see the community discussion there. The other thing is there's an IRC chat channel. Normally there's nobody there. Yeah, I think it's a bot, but the bot doesn't answer your question, so don't even try. You can go to GitHub, but then you need to know GitHub, and then you need to be a developer and have a GitHub account. So if you go in there, you can refer to people, you have refer to issues or number of issues or pull requests, it will appear there. It's very iterative, whatever it's called, this word. But it's good you know that there and you can open issues there. And this is the way. If you're a developer, that orange thing is like somebody mentioned you. They do it a lot. Hey, because that's really, really where all the things happen. And, well, this is the best channel, you know. This is where you want to be. Don't forget about the other things. Charge back. And then you can work, and then the people go there, they answer. There's a lot of them, many channels. You just choose the one you want. All of them are open. So you go there, and you can even talk direct to one-to-one to some person. So I think it's important. And that's all. I just wanted to make sure that you know that there's a lot of people in Spain, the ones that has contributing to this team. So we have 4 companies there working. Near Technologies is one of them. Alberto is also here. Hey, Alberto. We have Tamara, that is from Logicalis, and we have Amaury, too, that is from Logicalis, too. They are working. There are more people there, but they will be in next year's presentation because they are still learning respec, so we don't allow them to commit to the code. And that's the reason I'm not here is because I don't code. So I'm not really doing this. I'm not here, yes, just for you to know. So thank you very much. I hope I have enjoyed it. It's useful. Any question? Any comment? Any insult?
Maybe a question for Greg. If I want to submit a PR for some Automate code, what test framework do you use for that? And how would I submit tests?
So we still use our spec for that as well. Some of the newer Automate methods, Madhu's come up with a different structure to support that, to make it a little bit easier. We used to require loading the whole model and running the resolution. Now there's a framework that we have some mock objects, so there's some really good examples out there, and we can work with you to put that stuff together. It's much simpler than it was, so it's really good. Yep. Anyone else?
No questions?
Cool.
Rich, I do the answer. Can I?
All right.
Yeah. Always open.
So I think now we're doing the wrap up down in the far conference room. I think it's the AB conference room. Thank you.
Thank you.